It is, it's emotional. I'm stepping away from my business. And my father will be president, and hopefully I can be there to support him and to support those causes I've cared about my whole professional career.
But Ivanka was quick to dispel speculation that she would be filling the shoes or occupying the East Wing office traditionally reserved for the president's wife.
What's your reaction, though, when you hear people say she's going to be essentially the real First Lady? Does it offend you?
Well, I think it's an inappropriate observation. There's one First Lady, and she'll do remarkable things.
We know who's not making the move to Washington: Donald Trump's two grown sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, who instead will be entrusted with running their father's vast business empire. A move slammed by critics concerned it does not adequately guard against conflicts of interest.
And how is this going to work exactly? You just said you're in his office, each other's office, 7 times a day. How are you all of a sudden going to pull the plug on that?
My father has the biggest responsibility of any person, arguably, on the planet, and that's to run the United States of America. His focus is going to be running this country.
And that reality, along with the weight of its responsibility, is something Don Jr. believes may not yet have fully sunk in for his father.
Do you think it might happen when your father puts his hand on his childhood Bible?
Yeah.
And takes that oath?
I imagine it will. I don't think anyone could become that cynical that that wouldn't affect them. I mean, going around the country and seeing all these people who've been, either, disaffected, from politics, but have just been through so much, to be able to, go through it and see them and talk to them. It was just a culmination of just incredible and moving experiences.
And Deborah joins us now as well. Boy, Ivanka remained so composed when you asked her that question about the First Lady, but you could tell she doesn't like that comparison.
It rankles her a little bit. As you say, she's very composed. Unlike her dad, she doesn't shoot from the lip as much. But she did say privately she finds it a bit sexist. Why couldn't 2 women, as she said, 2 empowered women come to Washington and make their mark? So she doesn't like that, but she does accept the fact that she's probably going to have a big impact, and she wants to, but she wants to figure that out slowly.
And it'll be a unique role. You also got a little more insight into that friendship with Chelsea Clinton.
And she says they are friends, that they remain friends in spite of this bitter campaign. She said she'll probably go to her for advice. She hasn't just yet, but that friendship, she says, remains intact in spite of what has gone on before.
And when you were talking to Don Jr., you talked about that emotion his father's going to feel when he puts his hand on the Bible. Not a really real soft-hearted guy, usually.
No, the president-elect infamously has said he hasn't cried since he was a small child. Don Jr. says that might be the moment when we see the president-elect, now the president, tear up, because that will be such a moment fraught with emotion. And by the way, the 2 sons are unabashed hunters. They love hunting. They've been big defendants of the NRA. Their Secret Service nicknames: Marksman and Mountaineer.
Oh, there you go.
So,
how about, did they weigh in on their dad's tweeting?
You bet they did. Both sons were unabashedly defending him, saying, even when I read the words aloud, liar, loser, sleazebag, stupid, Don Jr., you have 5 kids. Do you let your kids say words like this to each other? He said, my father's telling the truth. He's got to call out the lying media when he sees it, and if he can cut out the media and talk directly to the people, even using that kind of language, they support it.
But Ivanka admits that she weighs in from time to time on that tweeting like any other kid would, and she says sometimes he listens, sometimes he doesn't.
She's got a lot going on. She's got 3 little kids at home as well.
She does. So her primary goal, she said, is to get them settled and slowly figure out the impact that she's going to have, but we're going to hear a lot from her.
And by the way, the youngest of, I don't know about all 3 of Ivanka's kids, but the youngest of Don Jr.'s children, who've been fighting the flu this week, he tells me, will not be at parts of the inauguration and parade. They're just too